Welcome to week 9. By this stage, you have developed your research question, designed your project, and begun analysing your evidence. Now we make another important transition. You're moving from collecting and organising evidence to working out what that evidence actually shows. A finding isn't simply something you noticed in a film. A finding emerges when you look across your evidence, identify a meaningful pattern, and work out how that pattern relates to your research question. In this pod, we'll look at how to make that move. Start with the evidence you've collected. This might include your database data, your own coding, notes from the films, or comparisons between particular groups of films. Look for repetition, but don't only look for repetition. Differences and exceptions can be just as important. Perhaps most films in your sample represent authority in one way, but one film does something completely different. That exception might help you understand the larger pattern, and don't feel that you have to report everything you've found. Your research question should determine what matters. The purpose of analysis is to select and interpret the evidence that helps you answer that question. This distinction here is very important, that a pattern is not yet a finding. Suppose you notice that formal authorities are ineffective in several films. That's a pattern. Now look more closely. Perhaps the protagonists repeatedly have to rely on themselves, families, communities, or informal groups instead. Now we can begin interpreting the pattern. And from that interpretation, we can develop a finding. Perhaps these films imagine political order as something that emerges outside formal state authority. Notice that we've moved beyond simply reporting what is in the database. The finding tells us something about the political meaning of the pattern. That's the level I want you to start reaching in your analysis. You don't need to discuss every film in your final report in equal detail. It's best to find the films that show your evidence, that show your pattern the best. Use the database to establish the broader pattern and then identify the films that allow you to demonstrate and explore it most effectively. Some films will be particularly strong examples. Others might be useful because they provide a contrast. This is where your textual analysis becomes important. Go back into those films. Look at characters, narrative, setting, worldview, values, conflict resolution, and power relations. Use specific evidence from the films to work out what the pattern means. Your task after this pod is to identify 2 or 3 possible findings emerging from your research. In pod 2, we'll see you interpret those findings. I'm Diane Coleman. I'll see you in pod 2.